Hello, my name is Sam Ewing, and I'm going to talk about a documentary that I've been trying to put together, the motivation being to use it as an inspiration to young people, especially young people in the African American community. Now, one of the things that I had to sort of figure out is what type of story I was going to tell. And this had to be a historical story, and it had to be popular. It had to be something that had to do with the popular culture that would entice them into learning about history. So the first thing that I had to do was figure out what type of subject might attract them. So I decided to go into the comic book arena, and I looked at the idea of the Superman. And I thought there might be some history there on this subject. Now, I was aware of that Nietzsche, the philosopher, had written on this subject with his opinion on what the Superman is and could be. And then, of course, we have the unpleasant history from the Nazi era, which represents basically the more perverse views about the idea of the Superman. So I wanted something that was very positive and kind of spoke of the benevolence of the Superman. And where I found that was in the most ancient history. If you go back to the ancient cultures of Africa, the Greeks, the Romans, they were very much inspired and interested in the idea of the Superman as a benefactor who contributed to the public good. So this is the oldest, most ancient version or thoughts on the idea of the Superman. Now, taking that history, which I learned, and having some experience with making the first, a #1 version on the same subject, I decided I wanted to try something different. First of all, I didn't want to use my voice. In the first one, I used my voice quite a bit to provide the information, and I basically wore my voice out. So I thought this time I was going to work on text. One of the difficulties or the monotony of text is that one has to continuously type it in and make corrections. So that was one thing that I found very grinding and monotonous. What I actually enjoyed was the illustrations, illustrating the images from the classical period and using color and black and white photographs. I enjoyed that part of it. I did not enjoy the idea of coloring in every illustration. I found that to be a monotonous grind, but that's one of the things you have to endure if you want to do this. The next challenge, of course, was figuring out what pictures were going to go with what theme in this documentary. And of course, the third challenge I had, of which I am quite challenged in, is just computer and technical know-how, the medium. Learning how to take everything that I had compiled and actually place it in its proper form in a type of computer medium, I guess the Mac and the iMovie and that sort of thing, of which I'll admit I am not the most skilled. That's why I have the fellows in the Stack Lab here who are assisting me with that, as they are assisting me at this very moment with this 5-minute explanation of the documentary. And so with their help, I have managed to get this documentary to the point where we're now working on the music, that will be next, and actually the timing of the text as far as how many seconds I want this rolling script to continue. So keeping that in mind, I'm very eager to get to that part of it, and then finally the special effects and getting it onto a DVD type format. So that basically rounds up the technical part of putting the documentary together, and I hope that by the end of this process that I can then get with organizations such as churches and recreational type organizations for children and start showing this documentary and inspiring some people, and maybe inspiring them to look at classical culture from the African side of the house as well as from the idea of Western civilization, and use that to inspire them to do great things. We kind of need that inspiration now in our society, now that we are being challenged with the type of financial and other social problems that we have to deal with. Okay, that kind of wraps up this presentation, and I enjoyed this process of speaking with you.